And okay, we're recording. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Julie Niederhauser, and I'm the Public Library Coordinator here at the Alaska State Library, which is located in beautiful Juneau. And I'm really excited to be kicking off the Alaska Digital Stewardship Intensive Training with this orientation webinar. So Anjali and Anastasia and I, we really hope that the information you learned during this workshop will provide you with the awareness of some key digital stewardship concepts and provide you with the confidence necessary to move forward on a local digital stewardship project in your community. We also hope that this workshop will foster a supportive network of co-learners, and we encourage participants who already have experience or knowledge in some of the topic areas that we are going to cover to share that knowledge with others. And I'm going to talk about one way you can do that a little bit later. We also understand that everyone's community is unique and that all of the participants in this workshop may be juggling multiple responsibilities. They may be working or volunteering in their communities. They may have families that take up some of their time. And so we understand that you have these other obligations on your time and energy. As you work through the course, please select the information that is really pertinent to you and your community. So we really hope that you select and you explore those areas and you apply that information to your unique situation. So during today's webinar, we're going to talk about, really the basics, kind of the nuts and bolts of the course, the organization of the course, how to access course materials. We're also going to review the syllabus and the course requirements and how the Alaska Digital Stewardship listserv that is created for this course will be used as a means for communication throughout the workshop. We will also share with you some information about an opportunity to apply for a grant, to bring an expert to your community, to provide you and your staff with training and some expert advice on a particular project. But first, what we're going to do is just spend a little bit of time getting to know one another. Because we really understand that one of the challenges of teaching a distance course like this is creating a sense of belonging among the participants. And so during each of the scheduled webinars, we will include time for questions and discussions. And the listserv that I mentioned earlier will also be a place where people may pose questions and share resources with one another. So let's just take a couple minutes to introduce each yourself. You can do it if you have a microphone, you can do it that way. Just go ahead and answer your questions, and we'll just start alphabetically with Amanda. If you aren't talking, if you'll go ahead and mute your microphone so we don't get a bunch of feedback. So Amanda, if you want to take it away. Okay. So I'm not sure, Amanda, do you have a microphone?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I had my volume down. I apologize.
Okay, so you want to introduce yourself, your name, where you're at, your role?
Sure. My name is Amanda Lancaster. I'm at the Alutiiq Museum in Kodiak, and I'm the Collections and Facilities Manager.
Thank you. We have Anastasia. Okay, Anastasia, I'm not sure if your microphone is working. Angela?
Hi, I'm Angela Lynn. I am the Senior Collections Manager for Ethnology and History here at the University of Alaska Museum of the North here in Fairbanks.
Okay, welcome. We have Anjali.
Hi, I'm Anjali Grantham. I'm Curator of Statewide Services at the Alaska State Museum, and I'm one of the co-instructors for the course.
Looks like an Anna. I'm not sure her last name. Hi, Anna. Do you have a microphone? Okay, I'm not sure if her mic is working. I did see a note from Anastasia that, hi Julie, I have no mic or sound. She couldn't, but I can send a chat intro. Okay, Dujana Davidson?
It's Juna.
Oh, so sorry about that. Okay, so would you please introduce yourself?
Her mic isn't working.
Okay, all right. All right, so no mic for Erin Peterson. I'm not sure if she has text. Okay, so Gina, she says, I am the operating manager at the Kodiak Historical Society and Baranov Museum. Okay, thank you. Not sure if Erin Peterson is able to join us with the mic. We have Fran. She looks like she has a mic. I'm not sure. Fran, you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Freya, looks like Freya has a mic. Freya, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Unmute myself. This is Freya Anderson, and I'm the head of information services and acting head of the historical collections at the State Library. And
Thank you, Freya. You were very faint, but we did hear you.
I'll try to turn up my volume for the next.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a good test of everyone's equipment. Okay, so we have Haley. It looks like she has a mic, or maybe she does. Haley Chambers. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
So she doesn't have a mic.
Okay, thank you. It's hard for me to see, to read the screens and check the chat. So thanks for that assistance. Heather McLean, I believe that you chatted earlier. Hi all, Heather McLean, Collections Manager from Sealaska in Juneau. Thank you, Heather. Joanna?
Yes, hi, this is Joanna Perincevich. I'm at the Sitka Public Library. I think my title is Information Systems Librarian, but I do cataloging, serials, I'm kind of the network administrator, and the default archivist in our library.
Thank you, a woman who wears multiple hats. Thank you, Joanna. Okay, Jolene, I'm not sure if I missed your chat.
No, I have a mic. I'm Jolene Canay. I'm with the Ted Stevens Foundation in Anchorage, and I'm one of the assistant archivists here, and then I also handle the social media.
There, thank you. Okay, Kathleen Fear.
Hi, I'm Katie. I just want to check, do you actually hear me now?
Yes, we do.
Yay! Okay, so I am the government documents librarian here at the Alaska State Library.
All right, and also one of our presenters.
Yes!
Okay, thank you, Katie.
Sure.
Okay, Megan Bruckner. I missed your chat. Oh no, looks like you have a mic, Megan. Okay, Rosemary.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rosemary Austin. I am the kind of a part-time archivist at the Alaska Aviation Museum, and I'm also the contract scanner at the Anchorage Museum.
Okay, very nice to meet you. Thank you. I hope I don't say this improperly. Sarala?
Hello. Yes, I have a microphone. It's Sarala.
Hi, Sarala.
It's Sarala Puthaval, the collections manager at Alaska Native Language Archive in Fairbanks.
Oh, thank you. Well, welcome. Thanks. Okay, we have Sue. I'm sure she has and Tara. If you like to. Okay, Valerie? Valerie Kingsland? I'm not sure. Okay, and Wayne. Okay. Wayne, would you like to say hello? All right, I know that some people are shy, and sometimes the equipment just isn't working when we put. So thanks everyone for taking the time to do that. And I think over the course of the next couple of months, I think everyone will get to know each other hopefully very well and feel comfortable talking and sharing a little bit more as we get throughout the course. But
Julie,
yes,
hello.
hi.
Hi, this is Anastasia. I'm using Katie's mic.
Oh,
So,
yay!
yeah, so if I know it's hard to follow the chat. So Wayne just chatted and said he doesn't have a microphone.
Okay,
It looks like Tara Alcock doesn't,
okay.
a director of the Petersburg Library. I don't either, so I'm borrowing Katie's. But I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Anastasia Tarman, and I am in the historical collections at the Alaska State Library, and I will be a presenter for this workshop. And thanks for pulling it together.
Thank you, and
Okay.
thanks with all the help with reading the chat. It is kind of it's hard to cover all these bases. Okay, we're going to be moving on here. Thanks to everyone who introduced themselves. Okay, so this course is called the Alaska Digital Stewardship Intensive. So what exactly does digital stewardship mean exactly, right? So I found this really great article. It was written by an intern, Jamie McCurry, and it's titled A Digital Stewardship, the One with All the Definitions. And she just does a great job of describing what digital stewardship does in that article. She also talks about digital assets and some other common definitions. So there is a mention in the resources of where this article is. You could probably do a quick Google search of it also and find the article. She describes or defines digital stewardship this way. Digital stewardship encompasses all of the activities related to the care and management of digital objects over time. Proper digital stewardship addresses all phases of the digital object life cycle, from digital asset conception, appraisal, description, and preservation to accessibility, reuse, and beyond. So for this course, it's important to kind of differentiate digital assets, which is really the focus of this course, from digital files. So back to Jamie, according to her, digital assets are digital files, but what makes them special is that is the information that's associated with them outside of the file. So we're going to be talking about metadata. And metadata helps maintain the object's value and its ability to be discovered and utilized, because there's a lot of descriptive information in the metadata. So as we go through this course, we're going to share with you a LibGuide that we've developed for the course, and on that LibGuide, there is I think it's Digital Preservation Handbook, which has a really great glossary in it as well, because we're going to be talking about a lot of unfamiliar terms, or maybe these terms are familiar to you, but for some folks they may be new, and so you can check out those glossaries that are related on that LibGuide. So we were talking about the life cycle. Digital stewardship has to do with the life cycle of digital objects over time. So there's a lot of different models for what a digital life cycle could look like. In his blog post for the Library of Congress, Bill Lafergie describes several different models, and this image came from that blog post. And he says that in his article, these digital object life cycles, these models are really important. And the reason they're important is that it lists all of the basic stages that content moves over time, from the creation to providing ongoing preservation, management, and access over time. Life cycle models are useful for understanding the full scope of responsibility involved at the various stages, and also in formulating workflows for particular kinds of contents. He also says that life cycle models vary with institutional policies and practices. So again, on this slide is one example of what a digital life cycle model could look like. And now we have a different digital life cycle model. This is the digital stewardship life cycle model from the Sustainable Heritage Network, where a lot of the content for this course comes from. So in the digital stewardship life cycle video that's available from their website, Lotus Norton Wilson, she describes a digital stewardship life cycle as kind of an overall plan and a guiding document used to map out the life cycle of digital collections in an institution. And their life cycle model has 4 main areas: get it, check it, share it, and save it. They really believe that these are the 4 main areas that every digital life cycle or a digital stewardship life cycle model should contain. So take a look again at their life cycle model, and you can kind of see in the small, maybe you can't see, but under these main categories of get it, it kind of describes what activities are happening within that part of the life cycle. So it's find, select, prioritize. Let's go back to our previous one. You'll see that they're selecting over here in this life cycle model, and then it goes into creating and describing. So if you were to like compare the various life cycles, you might find that there are various components that are shared by all of them. Okay. I'm sharing this information with you for a purpose, and you'll find out soon what it is. Okay. So I mentioned the Sustainable Heritage Network. So the Sustainable Heritage Network is managed by the Center for Digital Scholarship and Creation at Washington State University. And on their website they describe what the Sustainable Heritage Network is. They describe it as a collaborative project that complements the works of Indigenous peoples globally to preserve, share, and manage cultural heritage and knowledge. And the Sustainable Heritage Network, along with their partners, organize and produce educational resources. And that's really important for this course because we are basing our course on their digital stewardship curriculum, which is freely available. And here's a link to the Sustainable Heritage Network. And also, when you go to that page, you're going to see that the digital stewardship curriculum, this little book icon, is located on the upper right-hand side. So again, it's really important to understand that our Alaska Digital Stewardship Intensive, which was created to meet a need for digital stewardship training by staff working in Alaska's libraries, archives, and museums. Our course is really based on the excellent curriculum that's been provided by Sustainable Heritage Network. And so not only are we going to be using their educational resources, we are planning on sharing the educational resources that we provide and create for this course with them, thereby adding additional educational content to this great website, for the purpose and benefits of others, other people who are going to be attending future training events. So let's go to the next page here. So here is, on the left-hand side, here's their life cycle model, their digital stewardship life cycle model. And then on the right-hand side, their curriculum was created to kind of mirror that life cycle model, okay? So module 1, the Get Out, it covers how to find, select, prioritize materials, accept donations, digitize originals, and create copies. Module 2, the Check It, covers how to continually ensure that materials in your collection are created and maintained up to your standards for quality, organization, and description. And Module 3 covers how to preserve and protect materials for the long term, plan for a secure place to save files that can expand to hold your growing collection. And Module 4, Share It, covers how to provide access to materials through exhibits, online collections, educational programs, or make them available to research. So when you click the link for Module 1, you're going to get a page, and you'll get a purpose statement. So each module is really a collection of related curriculum resources, and each of the modules begins with a purpose statement and a short introductory video. I can't encourage you enough to watch these videos. I mean, these videos are usually less than 3 minutes long, but they provide a really good overarching kind of a understanding of what the purpose of the curriculum is, where kind of gives you just a little bit of context and background information about what kind of activities you should be thinking about at this stage of the life cycle, right? So focus the Get It is the first module, and it focuses the module's purpose or focus is on how you bring materials into your institution, about creating successful plans and policies that will guide all of your projects. So any questions about what we've covered so far about the Sustainable Heritage Network, how you access the curriculum that's on that website? Okay. So again, each video begins with a short, each module begins with a short video. Again, it provides an overview of the activities normally involved at that stage of the digital stewardship life cycle. The videos often can include recommendations for some cultural checks that you might want to consider at that stage of the process, and also some useful resources associated with that module. So if you're unfamiliar with using the little embedded videos, there's a little button, you just click it and hopefully it should go for you. So here's a screenshot of the content covered in Module 1. The content is, again, organized by activities. And the first activity is creating policies. So you'll notice that you have mission statements and collections or collecting policies. So just a question to the group, why do you think that the very first module is all about policies? I mean, aren't we talking about digitization projects here, or digitizing resources or assets? I mean, why are we talking about policies? Any ideas? And if you have a mic, you could freely share. So for those of you that work in institutions, why do you think that the first thing we're going to be talking about is policies?
This is Angela in Fairbanks. I'd say that, your policy is what guides your actions. It defines and justifies your actions. So in order to, know what kind of digital files or assets you're going to have, you need to know what your collections are, and that has to be fully described in those policies. And you have to understand why you're doing it. So your mission statement is super important that way too.
Thank you. That is the perfect answer. Thank you so much, Angela. That's exactly right. So yeah, the very first one. So okay, so then you'll see there. So it's organized under these. This is, creating policies. Then what falls under that? Then after you have those policies, bringing the collections into your institution. What are you going to? How are you going to do that? And then setting up sustainable digital projects.
Julie, this is Rosemary, and I wanted to add on to what was said before about why we have policies, and that is from the for the person who's working in an archive and accepting donations. It helps to set an expectation with a donor for how their materials will be dealt with and whether or not they even can be dealt with. So I want to kind of look at this from the donor relations standpoint. We really need to let people know if they donate things, how or if they will be dealt with.
Oh, that's a wonderful point, because sometimes people want to give you things that don't really fit within your institution's mission or fit within your scope of your collections, and they want you to take it and share it or do whatever, and you have to say no. And it's nice to have a collection policy, right, to say this is why I cannot accept that wonderful thing.
Or this is why you won't see it on our website in 6 weeks.
Okay, good point. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. And Anjali, I believe you're going to be doing a presentation on policies coming up fairly soon, right?
Correct, next week.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Okay. So all of the educational resources found in the digital stewardship curriculum should include a rights statement, list the creator of the work, and a Creative Commons license. So on the right-hand side, I've highlighted in yellow the rights statement, and also the Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike license. So this license lets other people, remix, tweet, and build upon this shared work as long as they don't do so for commercial purposes and as long as they credit the creator, which again, in this case, is Lotus Norton Wilson. On the right hand, I've also highlighted a collection because this is also a great way to navigate within the various modules. So each of these is an active link and you can click on it and go between the different modules. Okay, so now we're going to switch gears and focus on the Alaska Digital Stewardship Intensive. All of you should have received a copy of the course syllabus, which was created by Anjali. She put in a lot of work on that syllabus, I can tell you. So hopefully if you have your syllabus nearby, if you want to kind of pull it out and look at it as we go through a few things. At the top of the syllabus is a description of the course, so that's kind of similar to that's like our purpose statement. And then next, then under that are the course objectives. And so as we were building or planning the organization of this course, we kind of keep going back to these course objectives and make sure that everything that we're going to be doing kind of relates back to those. So, we are hoping to build the collection management capacity and competence of Alaska's collecting institutions, particularly in regards to digital materials, provide information and support for institutions to implement digital collections plans, and to connect Alaska's collecting institutions to resources and individuals that can assist them in being better stewards of the collection. Okay. Any questions about our course objectives? Oh, I think they are doable. Okay, required assignments. So this course, again, this isn't high school. We aren't requiring you to take a final at the end of the course. You don't have to write a paper, anything like that. But if you do want to qualify for the optional ANLAMS grant opportunity, which I'll be talking about shortly, you do have to complete the following task. You have to participate actively in the listserv. So you can't just be a lurker on the listserv. You have to, once in a while we'll be posing a question like, how did you, just some general question, just make sure people are alive out there. And we want people to share information and their experiences. So please, be an active participant in the listserv, and we'll show you how to join the listserv shortly. Draft and submit a policy related to digital collections for your institution. And you're going to be submitting that policy for review to Anjali. And notice that the date for that is April 9th. So the course kind of goes throughout the end of April. And we even have a bonus webinar we're going to talk about on VILDA that's going to be presented by Arlene, the head of the archives at UAA. I don't think that's been added to the syllabus, but it's on the CE calendar. But if you want to be considered for one of the ANLAMS grants, you have to do these two things. And you do have to submit that policy to Anjali. And I think, Anjali, you'll be talking about that more later, correct?
Yes, I will. I'll be walking through some examples and giving some options. I know that some institutions probably already have some policies related to digital collections, but perhaps you don't have a digitization policy. So think about what policies would be important for your institution right now, or if you have policies that need to be revised to incorporate digital assets. And we'll be talking more about that next week.
Okay. So I've kind of mentioned this, this Ann Lamb's grant opportunity. So what are we talking about? Okay, so I don't know how many of you know Sue Sheriff, but Sue Sheriff, she used to be the head of library development for the Alaska State Tire. Let me start over. Sue Sheriff used to be the head of library development for the Alaska State Library, and she has since retired. And she worked with Tyson Renio, the associate professor and off-campus librarian at UAF, on an IMLS grant proposal titled Honoring Alaska Native Cultural Heritage, Continuing Education for Alaska Community Libraries. Now, the purpose of their grant was to provide continuing education for Alaska public and tribal library staff working with indigenous populations and cultural materials. And specifically, the grant funded an institute that was held last fall in Fairbanks and focused on the preparation for digitization projects, current practices in oral history collection, and local indigenous language preservation. I'm sorry, my mouth is getting really dry. It's hard for me to talk here. Their grant also included funding for a customized on-site hands-on training that will be offered to a library, archive, or museum staff member who's working with, so here's the thing about the museum people. In order for museums to qualify, they need to be working in partnership with the library or archive on a joint project. So there will be an application process, and so institutions that are interested in applying to have a specialist come spend a week in their community and provide training and assess a community project will need to apply in this. There'll be a semi-formal application process. We don't know what that process is exactly yet. Sue Sheriff is currently out of state, but she will be back in Alaska fairly soon, and as soon as she is, we will get that information from her and share it with you. So again, if you want to be eligible for one of those grants, you need to complete the course and then need one of these other things: work in a library or an archive, work in a museum, and be partnering with the local library. So it says library specifically, but I believe there's a little layered to it. It may be applied to archives as well. So that training provides both, training will benefit both the museum staff and the library staff, and the project must be specifically focused on Alaska Native materials. So I know that's kind of exciting, but you don't have all the details. We hopefully will share all of those details as soon as we get them. So any questions about what I've shared so far? All right. So back to the syllabus. So on the syllabus, you'll see information about each scheduled webinar, the date, the time, and a link. There will also be the name of the presenter and the presenter's contact information. So please feel free to reach out to these people. Again, one of our goals is to make connections with each other and to provide support to people. So it's really, feel free to reach out to folks. If you have any questions about the content shared during a webinar or any other questions that may come up. There will also be recommended resources, which are from primarily from the Sustainable Heritage Network's digital stewardship curriculum, and some recommended activities. So while we aren't requiring participants to explore every recommended resource or complete and turn in every assignment, we do know from experience that the more time people spend reading materials and learning and applying that information, the more they get out of the course. Okay. So in addition to the list of webinars on the syllabus, we have added information about each of the webinars to the Alaska State Library CE calendar. So you'll see that the URL is on this slide. So on the right hand of the slide is an arrow kind of pointing to the 3 ways in which you may view the calendar. So on this slide, I've selected the calendar setting, the more traditional calendar setting, which allows me to see the entire month. So depending on your preference, you can select to view the list as a list view or kind of a tabulated view. I believe it's set up to default in the list view. Notice that I have highlighted the Alaska Digital Stewardship webinars in yellow, and each title of the webinar, they're all the same, right? They're all going to start with the last AK Digital Stewardship Intensive and then the specific title for that webinar. So to access additional information about the webinars, to register for the webinars in advance, or enter the webinar, simply go ahead and click on the title of the webinar. So once you do that, this is kind of the screenshot of, or a screenshot of what it should look like. So this is a screenshot from today's webinar. And you'll see on the upper right-hand side of the screen is the enter webinar link. And then we also have the begin registration. So hopefully everyone was, I believe that you all were able to access the webinar without any difficulties, or you wouldn't be attending right now, but there might be issues for other folks. Okay. So I mentioned that we created an online resource guide, the Digital Preservation or Digitization Training Resource LibGuide. We did it to support this course. This online resource guide contains additional tutorials, general digitization resources, handbooks, and glossaries. We will be continuing to be adding links as we discover new resources. We will also be adding links to the recorded webinars to this LibGuide. So, you may want to bookmark this web page, the CE calendar, and the Sustainable Heritage Network on your computer for easy access, because you'll probably be going back and forth between those three resources quite a bit. So we talked about the listserv that we created for this course. Each of you should have received an email with a link to register for the listserv. Registering is fairly easy. You just have to enter your email address and your name. But please take a moment to do so, because learning in isolation is not any fun, and you don't learn very much that way either. We really need a space for all of us to share ideas and insights and experiences, and that sharing is what's going to probably be the most valuable part of this course. So we really are hoping that people will register and begin using the listserv. Okay. So any questions on anything that we've covered so far? This is all pretty general. I hope Tara sees this photograph, because this is from her library. This was an amazing, this is an aside, but they had an amazing art installation, interactive art installation at their library. And so that picture was taken there, and I just had to add to this. So anyway, thank you for attending the orientation webinar. Do we have any questions about anything that we covered so far? Okay, the next scheduled webinar is going to be on the 15th, Tuesday the 15th. All of our webinars are scheduled on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. and it's going to be digital policies for collecting institutions. Anne Julie is going to be the presenter, and she's going to cover identifying types of collections, discuss core policies related to digital collections and management. So any of the other presenters, we got some time if you'd like to share anything.
Oh, this is Anjali. I would just like to recommend that if you can, everyone, try to find a microphone. It would be great if more people could chime in with questions. Of course, we'll try to moderate the chat function, but sometimes things are missed, and pertinent questions or pieces of advice might just kind of go off the radar. So if you can, please try to join with a microphone.
Okay.
And Bethany asks if people should watch the videos before the presentation. And if you have time, that's fine, but it's not required.
Okay, and speaking of the chat, it's hard. It would be nice if we could have somebody moderating during. So I'm going to go ahead and read. It looks like Anastasia added that the Digital Preservation for Libraries, Archives, and Museum is the book that has the glossary, and this book is posted on the LibGuide. Thank you, Anastasia, for that. I think Valerie's comment, this had to do with the the question about why should we have collections policies, and her statement was review current practice and see if it matches policy. Thank you for that, Valerie. From Freya, they keep everyone on the same page and also provide a backup when people want you collect things that don't fit your scope. Thank you for that, Freya. Valerie has an intro. I'm the director of the Seward Community Library and Museum. Sorry, no microphone today. And Bethany added, can a staff working at the same institution take the class together? Absolutely, Bethany, that's actually an ideal situation. It's actually something that we didn't talk about today, but we were supposed to. It's actually, that's the best way I think, for people to go through this course. If you can find somebody else from your institution to go through the course with you, you know, it's really hard for an individual in an institution to like look at the policies and kind of make decisions about whether or not these are the current policies that we have are adequate or not. You really need more people reviewing those documents and looking at them. So really this course works best when you have somebody going through the course with you. Angeli, Anastasia, any of the other presenters, if you want to chime in on that, that'd be great. Okay, maybe they don't want to. Okay. Okay, but yes, Bethany, please. I would recommend if there's other people in your institution who want to take the course, you know, do it together. Angeli added, unless you want to work on different policies. Okay. So the funding comes from the Office of Library Services, thus the requirement that a museum partners with the library. Okay, Angeli, so it looks to me like you were commenting about the ANLAMS grant?
Exactly.
Okay. I know that it wasn't initially, you know, our course wasn't initially part of Sue and Tyson's grant proposal, but Anastasia and I attended the training that took place in Fairbanks, and after that training it was just very apparent that there's this need in our state for this kind of training, which is really the impetus for how this course came about. So when Sue met with her grant coordinator from the IMLS, she asked if participants from this course could benefit from that grant to have expert come to their community, and they agreed to that.
Hey, Julie, this is Anastasia. I'm off the chat and on Katie's microphone again.
Okay.
My response to what you said and what the comment or the question about working together, we created this because we wanted to work together throughout the state to support each other. And I think this has been in the works for a while. We've, had requests from people to help with their digital preservation projects, but we are also developing a policy here at the Alaska State Library. And so, none of us is an expert here, but we're trying to share what we know, and we would love to know what other people know at their institutions, the experiences they've had. And so we really encourage everybody to work together, and it's not cheating, and you can still apply for the ANLAMS grant. So we're all just trying to help each other in this pursuit.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, should we have already watched the videos before you present? Angeli, I think you responded to that. Can you send the orientation handout with live links? I'm not sure if I can do that or not. That's a good question. I'll find out. Okay. And then Anastasia just spoke to that. Okay. All right, thanks everybody. All right, if there aren't any other questions, thank you for joining today. I'm going to stop the recording, and I look forward to talking to you guys. Actually, I won't be talking to you, and Julie will. I'll be one of the participants. Okay, all right. It's hard to read the current slides. Bethany, I'm not sure. Are the current slides in the handout, or is that what you're talking about? The current slides in the handout? They are small. Yes, in the handout. Okay, yes, we will send out, there will be a PDF of the actual PowerPoint presentation that will have the actual full-size slides. Okay, all right, you're very welcome. All right, thanks everybody.